It's amazing. And what it does to your brain, it's also amazing. That's why you get people being addicted to food. Okay, right. So then let's move to psychosocial stress and emotional eating. So this is somebody when they are very angry and stressed, they want to see themselves just eating. Very, very dangerous. Imagine if you are always stressed and you have access to chocolates and you're probably working from home, the fridge is full. You know what, this work is just stressing me. Fridge, yogurt, okay, yogurt. You eat, and this work is dealing with you. You go and you get more, and you just keep eating, right? That also gives you problems. This we need to address now because it's not just giving you the problem of being big or being fat, right? It's also going to mess up with your brain as well. It brings stress to you. I think I did a talk last time, but there was not a lot of people of your gut microbiota, that what you eat is what is gonna, your stress levels are actually determined by your gut bacteria. And you create good gut bacteria by the type of the food that you eat, right? So I don't know who has been in the 21-day challenges. I'm going to get to you guys. It's not a lot of slides. This is the most extensive one. But after I pass the slides, then we are moving fast. So you will see that the type of food, there's studies that were done, right? That shows that the type of food, it determines your gut bacteria, and that gut bacteria, it affects your nervous system and your dopamine system. Remember, the dopamine system is the one that deals with mostly your emotions and other things, right? So when you have bad gut bacteria, you tend to be stressed. You tend to have depression and all those things just from what you are eating. If you don't believe me, challenge me. Go and eat veggies, no meat, for 1 week. I don't want to give you a long time. Just 1 week. Eat properly. Eat what God said you must eat. And drink water, no sugar. And then come and tell me, what did you see, if you are really a stressed person. Okay? I'm not going to prescribe to you all the smarties that we give you to just make you more crazy. Just go do that for me and come and tell me if it worked or it didn't work. I'd like to know. Luckily enough, I like to test all these things that I talk to people about. I don't come and tell you something that I've not done. I remember there was a point, is it this year? I think it's this year. I was extremely stressed because of the program that I am doing. Surgery is quite hectic. It's not child's play. Nobody's there to babysit anyone. At work, if they tell you you're stupid, you have to just deal with it. Yes, I'm a fool. They can tell you in front of your patient you are a fool. You have to come back and say, Mommy, can I take your baby to surgery? And expect that patients will believe me to say I'm going to cut their baby properly. So it's quite hectic and quite stressful. And I was very, very super stressed. I didn't know what to do with myself. I hate medication. Yes, I do. I'm a doctor. I hate medication. And I'm not compliant on medication. So if I have to take medication, please give me something that I'm going to have to take for today, and it must work, and that must be it. I don't want to take it every day. I can't deal with that. So I was in that state. My brain is not working. I'm stressed. I need to study. I've got exams. I still have a family, and I have children. I have all these things, and thank God for my wonderful husband. He's excellent. I'm doing this because he is excellent. So I didn't know what to do with myself until I just one day just decided, you know what? You know how to fix this. Why don't you just try and just wean off meat, go back to gym or exercise, do something with your body. And I started doing that. It only took me 3 weeks. to fix my brain without having to take anything. It had gotten to a point where I had to drink medicine for me to be able to sit down and study because I couldn't even focus. That's how stressed I was. So, and after just weaning off meat and exercising, praying more, I became better in my head. Even now, even though I've slacked a little bit, I'm a bit better than what I was before. So, psychosocial stress and emotional eating, bad, 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 bad. It spirals down to you're going to be fat, yes. After being fat, you're going to have your mind becomes clogged. It's like, I don't know, you feel like you've been hit by something. You can't think clearly. And after that, you become more stressed. You become more depressed because now you look at yourself, you get to the closet, things don't fit. You become more stressed. You meet Sakani, Sakani says, oh, patience. And from the thing, Sakani was not trying to even make you feel bad, but because you're so conscious about yourself, it just becomes worse and it's just this bad, vicious cycle. I don't know if I made that point come across clear. And if we even give you medications, you see where I put certain medications, mostly antidepressants that are going to make you fat, mostly psychiatric medication that's going to make you gain weight. So it's not making it any better. So it's just a bad, bad cycle, right? So rather, when you are stressed, take a walk, do something. You need to first start by recognizing that I am stressed, because if you don't recognize it, then you will not be able to treat your problem, right? So start by rather recognizing your problem and then start acting from there. And then you have hormonal imbalances, right? So these people of hormonal imbalances, they fall in that group of the genetic makeup, right? So there's hormones that play a very big role in your eating, in the eating ritual. So there's a hormone called ghrelin. I didn't write it there, but that hormone basically is secreted in your stomach, and it's secreted when you are hungry, right? It tells your brain, I'm hungry, and then the brain says, Sakani, make food, and then I go and make food. And then I eat, right? Then when I'm full, there's another hormone called leptin. It's produced by your fat cells. And then leptin is going to say, I am now full, right? Your fat cells are going to produce that hormone. It says, I'm now full. And then that hormone goes to your brain and says, I'm full. So can you stop eating? Then you stop eating. That's how most of the things are happening in your body. There's usually a hormone that's directing the whole ball game. So some people then have issues with this hormone. When we deal with insulin, that's where issues of diabetes are born, because then you have this hormone that's not functioning. You are excessively hungry, but insulin, it's not sensitive to your cells, and the food that the sugar or the food that you are eating remains in your blood. It's not entering the cells. Then you are hungry, no matter how much you eat, right? And then you have hormones. Leptin resistance, I think, is the biggest culprit, right? Because when you now have resistance of this hormone, remember I said is the one that tells your brain, I'm full, right? So now if your brain does not read this hormone, I'm full, what's going to happen to you? You are going to constantly eat. So you have those people that you wonder when you look at them like, oh, but she's so big, but she's still eating. Why can't she just stop it? She can't, because there is a deep problem. So with this, I'm also conscientizing you people that don't judge people and think, she's so big because she's not exercising, there is other things that are deeper than just eating and exercising, that you and me don't understand at the eye level. Because people have taught you that you only become big from eating and not exercising. It's way more than that. Okay, there's a complex hormones that are involved in this system. All right? So I hope from this talk, when you see somebody who's big, you will not just empathize with them, you will understand that I don't think they probably want to be like that. It's probably a challenge. And no matter what they do, they've probably reached their limit. They don't know what to do. That person really needs help. So let's not judge our friends that are big. We don't know why they are big. It's not because they're just eating too much. I can tell you, I've got a friend of mine. She's actually vegetarian, but she's big. And it's not that vegetarian who eats pizzas. You know those vegetarians that are just... No, she's a proper vegetarian, but she's big. And then what do you do with that person? When you see them, are you going to say, it's because they're eating a lot? They're not. They're eating healthy. They try and exercise, but they're big. You see, so it's a little bit complex. So we need to understand it at that point. Sometimes it's not because of just what you eat and not what you shed. It's way more. So please remember that hormone called leptin, right? They tell me that I'm full hormone. If it's not sensitive in your brain, then you tend to eat a lot. Yeah, and then when you have this hormone insensitive, but I'll get to it. Maybe let me just deal with it here. So now when you have this hormonal that's not working properly, right? It then probes you to, let's say, maybe eat more and now start storing fat everywhere else. And when you do that, you start affecting the other hormones that are in your system. Then you start making your insulin also insensitive. Then you become diabetic. This is how most of these other diseases that people that are big have to deal with, how they are born. It's from one thing, and then it destabilizes the whole system. Okay. And then certain drugs, I've already said, mostly antidepressants, mostly antipsychotic medication, that also it's shown that it can make you gain weight, so be cautious. I'm not saying don't drink your medication that your doctor prescribed for you. Don't quote me on that, because you will go into an episode where we have to admit you, and don't hate me. Okay? So if you want to win yourself, do it gradually, speak to your doctor. And as you're trying these things, I mean, you can always take your medication, try these other alternative methods, slowly win yourself in communication with your doctor. Okay? I repeat, yes, all medications have side effects. And when they give them to you, sometimes it's because there's no other option. Okay? And remember with psychiatric diseases that if you go into an episode, sometimes you can exhibit the real features of madness. Don't know if you heard what I said. What do I mean by that? If you are depressed, low grade, you can go deep and be depressed high grade in such a way that you start seeing things that we don't see. You become real crazy. You understand? So be very, very careful if you're going to win yourself you start hallucinating. I didn't want to mention big words like that, but he's making me do it. So be very, very careful. Always speak with your GP, speak with your doctor when you want to try this method. Okay? Right. And then even with other medications, right? Even there is some diabetic medication that can make you gain weight. I didn't want to give you the list because I'm scared of what I'm saying now, that people will start leaving their medication and become careless. So you can go and read for yourself which medication does what. Like, look at your medication, Google, and say, okay, amlodipine. What is it? What are the side effects? Maybe you can do that for yourself. I don't want to be part of it. Okay, and then the gut microbiota imbalance, we have addressed it. Okay, that this usually plays your hormones, plays with your brain, messes up with your dopamine excess, everything goes haywire. So once you fix your eating, you probably fix a lot of your problems. Right, and then you have developmental and prenatal factors. So here we have these kiddies that they're just chubby, man, and they look so cute, ne? They are just chubby and they look so cute. And some of them, we as the mothers, we are guilty for that, ne? Because then, and don't get me wrong, there are these kids that are just chubby and cute just on breast milk, ne? But if you look at those kids that are just chubby, just on breast milk, as they grow up, that chubbiness actually disappears. Ne? But now there's these kids that are just chubby on maybe, let's say, baby formula. Because that's cow milk, ne? And I mean, I also fed my kids cow milk, but I don't think a cow would feed its children human milk. So cow milk, human milk is always the best. It avoids predisposing your children to obesity in the future. I'm not going to mention any formulas because I think I'm live. But yeah, be careful of formulas. Go read for yourself. Children that are, the studies that were done, children that were on formula milk or cow's milk, they have a tendency of becoming obese when they grow up or be struggling with weight issues. Okay, so do breastfeed whoever is still having children, right? And then the other things is you must really guard and be conscious of what your children are eating, okay? So you can't be feeding your children chips every day, and be careful, chips are also predisposing you to cancers. So be careful of the things that you are eating. Always check, read, okay? And then age and lifestyle changes, aging and pregnancy, those are other things that predispose you to gaining weight. I was very tiny, maybe patient size or even smaller than that. And then when I had children, then I'm now having this weight that I'm still struggling to shed off now. So that can affect us. And then being married is also seen as a risk factor of weight gain, It's a lifestyle change. It is. So if you are big and you're not yet married, please work hard. It's a risk factor that you are having to deal with. And if you are a lady, it even doubles because then you are going to be married, be happy. This husband's going to take care of you and then give you children, and then bad combination. But it's a good thing. Marriage is a good thing. We are happy. That's why that's why it's scary there. Okay. Yeah, so in a nutshell, those are some of the risk factors. I tried to go into how these things cause or make you obese, because obviously I'm proud to be Adventist, and I know the people from my church are of a little bit higher intellect when it comes to health. That's why I'm not just mentioning them to you. I go a little bit deeper. All right, so this is what I was, this slide is not appearing there, but basically it's the leptin and the ghrelin hormones that I was talking about, how it your eating habits. Nee. And then when it comes to then, funny enough, with obesity or being overweight, it's not like hypertension, where maybe hypertension maybe it's a close friend of obesity. It's a little bit difficult for me to give an example with it. Let's say it's not like an infection where your lungs, you have a cough, you can feel it's painful. You are slowly gaining the weight. The symptoms and the repercussion of these things, they come later, and you don't notice them until it starts causing problems. I don't know if you get what I mean. It's like that. It's like hypertension. You might find that people are sitting here, and if we would test them, they are hypertensive. So these things don't talk. The complications that they are giving you, you realize them later when they've caused the damage in your system, right? So let's say now, and you see that picture that it's displayed on the screen, right? It's basically showing you that this affects your entire system. So basically when you have I'm getting a message here that maybe the children have to go to the foyer. Let me just see. Can I ask that the children don't go to the foyer yet? I'm left with 4 slides, and it's going to be quick from now, and this is still relevant to them. I'm sorry. I still think they are able to learn. Okay, so the complications that we are going to get, it's start from head, goes to toe. And when I say that, I really mean it. Ne? You get, you gain weight, everything becomes fatty. Your vessels, your veins, right, they get clogged with fat, you get atherosclerosis, you get strokes, you get heart attacks, right? You get eye problems, okay? You get cataracts, ne? And then I'm still there. You would hear that those people, they usually struggle with sleep. They have got something we call sleep apnea, right? Because of that too much fat, like the snore and their airway closes. They have to wake up because they can't breathe anymore, and they are sleep deprived. They become depressed. It's so painful. It's not a joke, okay? And then the hormonal imbalance, it affects other hormones. Then you are at risk of getting diabetes. With those arteries that are clogged, you get hypertension, right? Your pancreas, your liver can't take it. Your pancreas, when it can't take it, it gives you pancreatitis. Your liver, when it can't take it, it gives you fatty liver, right? And the next thing, we see you having a liver problem, we see you needing to exchange your liver. But you were not drinking alcohol. People usually will struggle with alcohol liver cirrhosis. When you would have this fatty liver, and it becomes dysfunctional, it's not able to do what it has to do. Then you have gynae problems. If you are a lady, you will notice that I'm now starting to miss my periods. What's going on, right? Because your hormonal imbalance is doing all that. It predisposes you to cancers as well. A whole lot of cancers, starting from breast, uterus, colon, esophagus, pancreas, everything, you name it. Okay? And then it goes to your musculoskeletal, gives you arthritis, bones are painful, skin issues, right? You see you have these areas that are dark. Now I'm forgetting the name that we call it. Please forgive me, guys. It's no longer my area of, now what I do is totally different to what I'm talking about now. But yeah, then it gives you gout, it gives you vein issues, right? So it's quite a lot. Actually, it all stems from inflammation in your body, and it affects each and every system. Every system is affected, it's not spared. So if you can prevent this, please do. That's why I'm giving this talk. And I'll tell you before, just remind me when I finish. So how do we do this? How do we prevent this issues? I will not reference anything else for us. If you know I'm going to stand here, you must just know she's going to bore us with new start. I am going to bore you with new start until it gets into your heads. Even if I don't stress to you that you must be vegetarian, it's not my job. I'm going to tell you nutrition. I know an Adventist knows what is good nutrition. I don't think at this age and time I have to stand here and tell you, eat your veggies, drink your water, eat your fruits. The Adventist knows that. Unless if I've got a new Adventist in the house, please show by a hand, raise of a hand. We will take time to teach you about that. But the old Adventists, they know this topic and it's even boring. When they think nutrition, they know, oh, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to tell you about these veggies. I don't want you to hate church. And it's not going to take you to heaven. Vegetarian, non-vegetarian, it's the same heaven for everyone. The only problem is God says he wants you to have good life and health, and he wants you to enjoy it. So you can only enjoy it when you follow his principles. But God died for all of us. Jesus died for all of us, vegetarians and non-vegetarians. Yes, he did. So it's good for you to be vegetarian. But being vegetarian doesn't take you to heaven. Don't look down at the people that are still struggling to get there. Right? And then we know exercise. So this one I'm going to stress a little bit, exercising, because it's not the same exercising as, it's not going to be the same exercise for me or for patients. I know she's a gym fanatic. She's probably very intense. Ne? So you take it at baby steps, your own steps. If you never used to walk, start walking. If you used to walk, start running. Right? You don't really have to pay a gym to say you are exercising. Gyms are very expensive. Actually, I was speaking to one of my friends who is, I'm forgetting the term now, but is a doctor for people with arthritis and rheumatologist. He's a rheumatologist, very specialized, joints and very fancy stuff. He's actually the doctor for the old people who are complaining about their joints. So he told me some things like, do you have a gym membership? I'm like, yes. Do you lift weights? Yes. Okay. You will come and see me in 20 years' time. Well, I've not investigated and went and read and looked at trials and compare what he's telling me if it's true. Whoever has time, you can search for yourself that if you stress too much your joints, they are going to complain at some point. But what actually is recommended, or what he recommended, he said walking and running, it's actually the best exercise because it exercises your entire body. Obviously, maybe I'm being controversial because other people, they say light weights, they encourage because so that's why I feel there's still some controversy. I'll go and look it up, and one day we'll talk about it and clarify the factor, but I don't want to make it an issue. But the whole point that you should learn from this is if you were walking, walk a little bit. If you're walking 4 blocks, maybe add a block every day. Increase on your intensity. Work on your heart. Ne? A heart it's a muscle. Just like this muscle, it's also a muscle and it needs that. Just like your brain, it's a big muscle that needs you just to read, to nourish it. That's all. Then sunlight preventing things like cancer, temperance, trust in God. Those are the center of it all. I would like us to stand up and stretch a little bit. Okay. Good, good, good. We can sit. We can sit. So we have temperance and trusting in God. This morning we did speak about temperance and trusting in God. These things are almost impossible to do. Whoever is exercising, whoever is trying to eat a healthy diet, if you have never done it before, you know how much of a struggle it is for you to do it. For you to look at that cake and say, I'm not going to have it. It takes courage, guys. It's not easy. It's not easy. So just put temperance in the center of it all. Then you'll be able to do all these things. Okay? And resting. I forgot to speak about something when it comes to resting. You take it for granted, but maybe that's why I'm also overweight, because I don't rest. And the overworking and not resting, it causes hormonal imbalances, right? And then the whole cycle starts again. So you need to rest. So this prescription, it's better than all the other prescriptions I'm going to give you, which is the next slide. Okay, so before we get to these other prescriptions, I just want to take us back. Like I said, I'm teaching the Adventist community. It's well known thanks to research. The world even knows us, right? And it's because of a grade 3 learner. You tell me if there was no God in that. I don't know, whoever doesn't want to believe Ellen G. White, we are Zenzis. Because how does a grade 3, somebody who finished, if I need to be corrected, but I think Ellen White's highest qualification was a grade 3. Right? I can be corrected. I accept lower grades, right? But listen to what she says. She says, our bodies are purchased possession, and we are not at liberty to do with them as we please. And that's true. Jesus paid a price for this, right? And he suffered on our behalf, right? And all who understand the laws of health should realize their obligations to obey these laws which God has established in their being, right? That is her talking to temperance. That you find it in the book of Counsels and Diet, page 19. And then when she goes to diet, she says what you should eat is grains, fruits, nuts, vegetables. They impart a vigor of intellect. You remember what I was telling you about me being a little bit clogged, not being able to learn because of what I was eating. And immediately when I changed my diet, it became better. She says this helps you with your intellect and energy of endurance, which are not afforded by more complex and stimulating diets. This is somebody who, people are busy trying to research this, they're doing trials, they're spending money to prove this. And funny enough, it is true. So tell me if God was not in the center of it. And then when it comes to exercise and physical activity, she says to preserve health and temperance in all things, it's necessary. Temperance in labor, temperance in eating and drinking. I think my computer made something here. It's not making sense, but it's fine. We still have to be temperate. And then lastly, she says, God requires his people to continue. God requires of his people continual advancement. We need to learn that indulgence in appetite is the greatest hindrance to mental improvement and soul sacrifice. Okay, so when you get time, go and read that last slide. So what do conventional doctors do when you are struggling with with obesity or overweight? They will tell you you must change your lifestyle or make lifestyle modification in terms of diet, exercise, but we have learned more already. We know that we must rest, we must trust in God and all that. And then there is some drugs that people take to lose weight. We can talk about that. Sometimes you must be aware of the complications and other things that it can cause. And there's now a popular child in the blog called bariatric surgery. People make their stomachs smaller so that they don't eat a lot. Also has complications, but it does work. And then but it's got, like I said, complications. And then physiological and emotional support and the management of underlying diseases. For those people who have other diseases that are causing their overweightness or their obesity, they also need to be addressed. And then that's it. I think I'm done. I'm just going to take maybe, how many more minutes? 5 minutes. I'm going to take 3 questions or comments, and then we'll be done.
Thank you. So my question is around the underlying issues, and if perhaps there are different diets for the different issues. So maybe you think to yourself, okay, I go into a diet, if I eat this and this and this according to nuts, and then all will be sorted. Is that so? Or is there a way to be guided further in what exactly you put in what you eat?
Sure. Difficult one. Disclaimer, I'm a pediatric surgeon in the making, so this is not my field of study. So, and because I'm an academic, I'm going to shy away from giving you information that has not been proven. Okay. So I've heard people speaking about different diets for different body types, for males and females, very complex things. It's probably for you to go and do a search. Obviously, in terms of conditions, I'm not able to give you that information. I can take it as a homework, and when I see you again, I'll give you that information. But I do believe that it's not a one-size-fits-all. Nay. I believe that it's not a one-size-fits-all. I don't know if I did justice to your question. Is that fair? Yes, we do need to go deep. I've seen people who are now trying to see that, like, for example, in the ketogenic diet, because a lot of diets, there is one that's tailored for males, there's one that can be tailored for females and stuff. So I do believe that your body reacts to different things, and your hormones are not not in the same level. For example, patients looks like somebody who's got a high metabolic state. She loses weight without even trying, right? But there are people that have to work hard to lose weight, so that those people have to probably eat 2 different types of diets. Okay, any other questions?
Yeah, for me, it's just a testimony to testify or what you have been presenting there is the truth, is the whole truth. So now I used to suffer from high blood pressure. So high blood pressure I can always sit a bit somewhere around 150. So what I did, I decided to say, no, I have to do something with my health. And, you know, it is not an easy task, especially when it comes to food, when you have to control for your appetite. So, in short, what I did, I had to go for a detox. Then what I will do, I will, what you were saying in the morning to say, fruits and veggies. Yeah, the perfect juice that you can drink is the one that you have made for yourself, not the one from the shop or 100%. They are not 100%. They are just 100% for a name. But if you can do that, I think maybe you can do that. You can detox for maybe for 7 days. You'll see miracles. So my high blood was worse to an extent where I had to take medication. But now my high blood is like, wow, I'm proud about my high blood. So I'm just saying that what you are telling us is the truth. Yeah.
Amen. One thing I must tell you guys, in the Adventist church, you will not find a pastor coming to pray for people and healing them miraculously. That's the nice thing about this church. People get healed, ne? But it's not a wow, I was not able to walk, now I can walk. We understand the physiological and the way in which you were healed. It makes sense to us. But yeah, we thank God for that. And it's actually what the doctors should be prescribing to you before they start giving you your medication. They have to challenge you to say, can you modify your lifestyle, especially with all these lifestyle diseases? Moruti?
No, I won't comment on that. I have a question, but I also know that apparently blood type also determines the diet that you must take, something to that effect. There are certain meats I'm not allowed to eat based on my blood type, but now we grow up eating whatever you want to eat. So I think part of the homework should be checking your blood type and diet that goes with certain. You may be eating, I'm not a doctor by the way, disclaimer. But I understand you may be eating nuts because you like them, only to find that your blood type does not actually agree with that thing. All right. So my question has to do with size. No matter how much I gym, ever since I became an adult, all nurses and doctors say I'm obese. It doesn't matter what I do. Then I got to realize, I got to hear from people who are taller. And I counted at least 3 people here. If you take our BMI, all of us, you'll conclude that we are all obese. But then, also when you are shorter, they say you are obese. Please help me understand what's happening.
Okay, let's clarify that. So, like I said when we started the talk, the BMI, it's tailored for you as an individual, right? Like elder, I expect him to be about 90 Ks. 80 Ks. Just same around. Luena, you are plus minus should be there when we work out your BMI. I wanted to bring a scale, but because I've been doing this for too long, I can tell you from looking at you what is plus minus your BMI, right? So your BMI is made for you. Obviously, they are challenging the BMI, especially in the Asian countries, that the people are a little bit short. Maybe the numbers, they're actually thinking the numbers that they've put, that I've showed you guys, or when it's between minus 18, you are a little bit smaller. When it's between 25 and 30, you are fine. They're actually thinking maybe the numbers are way too big. They need to bring them lower. Right? So the BMI is tailored for you, Murut. If they measure you and you are on the other side of the scale, we need to find other ways. Maybe it's not just gymming. Maybe there's other things that are affecting Murut. I agree with you. For example, I am expecting you to be 8. If you are 90 something or getting to 100, then it's a problem.
Thank you. I know it was disclaimed that the issue of weight is sensitive and so on. So I'm going to ask about myself and maybe comment on myself. And it's not general. It's on me. Is it correct for me to look at myself and say, if I've now developed a little bit of belly, a little bit of, and you said it's those, they call them love handles, I don't know why. But of course, the fat around your waist, these ones, the waistline, yeah. Then you realize that things are not really falling in order, irrespective of what the BMI may say. In other words, I can, despite what the BMI says, look at myself and say, with these things, already I should know before the BMI tells me that I'm on the red zone, because those things shouldn't be there. That's my question. Is the correct way of looking at it? One. Also, just a comment then to say, I've undertook, and this thing is amazing to me because it was the first time in my life where I've had to go through such a thing of dieting. I took on a veg diet, and within the first 10 days of doing it, I lost over 6 kilograms. I was weighing 97 when I started, which is abnormal for me. I know myself around the 80s, 85, but very muscular still. When I used to lift weights, I don't have time now. I don't know where's my other friend. He's not here. When I used to lift weights. But because of all the adult exercises, things just go left pretty quickly. So having lost that much in that short space of time with that type of diet, and it's nothing special. It's the normal veggies that we eat at home, and simply cutting off unnecessary other things. And I don't do full 7 days, by the way, but it still works. So the other one was a comment, the other one was a question.
Okay. The question was, when you see a little bit of changes and fat in the wrong places where you didn't have it before, remember, some of us are, like, I used to be very tiny and probably malnourished because I had a BMI of less than 18. And then I started gaining a little bit of fat. I didn't even have to weigh myself. I knew now this is going wrong. Because currently I'm overweight. So if you are feeling judged somewhere where you are, just know we are together in this problem, and I'm also trying to fix myself. So yes, and I forgot to address the issue of central obesity, which is the big problem. And this one, it's now associated with a lot of the diseases. When you have the central one, all the other things that I was telling you about, stroke, and they come more when your fat is more distributed towards your tummy. That's not me saying that, it's the books. So yes, when you see fat in the wrong places, you can start working on it. And just to, hopefully you don't take offense, you're not a lady. I think we were with you 2 weeks, 3 weeks back. Yes, you have changed. You are more, your facial features are sharp now, less round, which looks good. Whatever you're doing, continue doing it. Yes, you are glowing. Any more questions? I'm going to take last hand, and then we should finish because there's another program coming.
Okay, maybe not really a question of some sort. Okay, so everyone here would be like, no, you don't have any weight issues. It's very easy for people just by observing myself, and worse than when I start adding the two that are sitting next to me, to just to make a conclusion to say, you don't have weight issues. Worse, if mom comes to bloom, then it's also another issue because she's exactly our size. So then the conclusion amongst many is you don't have any weight issues. I mean, where do you have them? But I would want to say that I think when we now reflect on the lifestyle that mom has been enforcing, and not really enforcing, no, not really. I'll say enforcing now because we're older and we realize that she was trying to get somewhere. But from the time we were young, in our house, we never had cold drink, we never had chips, we never had, what else did we never had cake, we never had, it wasn't a thing that she would say, she just never did those things. Like she never, yeah. And she never bought those things with her money. Unless there's like a birthday or oh yeah, and even lunch money, you never used to get lunch money. So, because we made lunch at home and you take it to school. So, it made it easier for us growing up, and also the encouragement to forever be in sports and be constantly moving. There's a book that I was reading, it's an old book, but really it has quite a lot of information on how weight is gained and all of that. And it was talking about fat cells and how in over-consuming, our fat cells, you may correct me if I'm wrong, but the book was saying that our fat cells will take in as much as it can until a point where it can't anymore. And when that then happens, then it starts to create new cells, which is not supposed to happen. The problem then with obesity and all of these things, and not overriding what Sis Laling was talking, Tsakani was talking about, where the problem then comes in is where new fat cells have been created, and even if you lose weight, because those have been created, it's more vicious than the ones that you originally had, and would then need more consumption or continuous consumption for it to be fed. So, and then the conclusion of the book then says, it is therefore wise to curb the problem in your kids when they are young, because throughout their lifetime, they don't recreate any new fat cells, so that when they are in their adulthood, they have these kind of problems. So, and the reason why I'm starting with how mom kind of did that and then made sure that we were in sports, everything that we ate, we expended. By the time we got home, all of it was expended. I'm telling you, with hockey and all of the things that we used to do. And it's a lifestyle that we've taken. I started running athletics when I was like in grade 1, and I still do run even now to hurt myself, but yeah, and other things. But I'm just trying to say that sometimes we need to take the measures in trying to change, in trying to reach the goals and living the lives that we want to live. And all of that also takes a lot of intentionality. That's where I wanted to get to. It needs us to be very intentional about what we want to achieve. Yes, I'm a smallanyana girl, but I tell you, I wake up in the morning, I go out, every morning I go and I take a walk. It doesn't have to be long. It's about 2Ks because I don't have that much time. But I walk to that 2K, get the sunlight in the morning, then I go back home. Those are the things that we all should be doing. I'm not doing things that are only for slender people. Because normally when we talk about weight and, but when you're slender, that's why you are able to do those things. But I also have to get out of bed. I also have to decide, let me get out of bed, let me go take that walk that I need to take. And let me not eat that, let me not do that, let me do this, let me do that, so that I am intentional about the lifestyle that I'm trying to live. Later in the night, in the day, to kind of condition my body to want to sleep, I go and take a walk so that I can see the sunset. And I kid you not, ever since I started doing that, around 7:30, the only thing my body wants is to rest. Because God made it intentional for us to have a time, like a clock of some sort in our bodies so that we are able to do and function in the way that we ought to function. But yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Sister Patience. I don't know if there's any more questions, but yeah, that was a mouthful. I don't want to add or subtract anything. Just going back to the mothers with the little children. Please, 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 please. Mothers and fathers, let me not be like that, because I'm never home to feed my kids and do all these other things. So mothers and fathers, parents, be careful of what you are feeding your children, and be intentional, like Patience is saying that the mother was intentional. And I also see it in myself. I'm very intentional about each and everything I present to my children. I'm intentional about it. Even if it's just playing. I was telling the girls, our patients now, that even if it's just playing, for me, my children are not playing just for play. It can never be. It's either I'm targeting a fine motor skill when I'm buying a toy, or there's something that I'm targeting. It's either I'm targeting that I want them to learn how to share, and I'm going to buy them a toy that they really love, and each one wished that could have it, but I only buy one, you know. So be very intentional with your children. I'm hoping we are reading child guidance. I read it and I stopped somewhere when I was pregnant, and then I became a registrar, and then I'm not reading anymore. But it's a good book. It actually takes you through what you should be doing and how you should be raising your child. Once again, being an Adventist is really a privilege. Yeah. So I think we will end it there with this talk. I hope we are encouraged rather than discouraged. I hope we are going to try and prevent, try and lose, try and find alternative ways, try and do something different. If you were not drinking enough water, remember you just need to have one goal and be intentional about one thing. I hardly ever eat fruits. I've got specific fruits in my house, like what I like. I like certain apples. If those apples are not there, I will not eat an apple. But now I've made it in my heart that whatever apple I find, I will eat. And then I will drink water. Only those two. And it's making a difference. I can see I'm going to the bathroom more often. Just only those two. You don't need a lot of things to convince you that these things are working, guys. Just one thing. Just when you leave today here, just give yourself a challenge on one thing. And say, okay, I'm going to drink more water, or I'm going to exercise, I'm going to just take a walk. Just one thing. And that is going to encourage you. Remember, your body gets encouraged by small positive outcomes. Okay, so I'll leave it there. I think we've spoken for too long. We can pray, and then the kids can be dismissed to their lessons. I will ask for Muruti to pray. I can't pray when there are elders and the Barutis in the church. Not a fair thing for me to do. Oh, I forgot. She's reminding me that tomorrow I always like to get something to kickstart us. So if you didn't know how you're going to start walking, tomorrow we'll walk at 6 a.m. We'll take Naval Hill. It's not an easy thing to do because remember I said 6 o'clock, so you have to wake up early. You have to walk. So there are a lot of things that you have to do before you get to the walking part. It's already too much sacrifices. So that's how temperance and you working with yourself comes in. But you have to be intentional about everything. So whoever wants to join us, 6 o'clock, we are walking Naval Hill. If I'm not there at 6, don't wait for me. At 6 o'clock, we must walk. Because this thing of us being late, it must just stop. And today I'm happy that we were trying to be on time with things. So yeah, tomorrow 6 o'clock, Naval Hill, and let's kickstart the good habits.
Right, let's pray together. Oh dear God, we are thankful for the privilege that you have given us to be seated this afternoon and to come and learn. Your word says that you desire that all of us must be in good health. And so we pray that what we have learned today can equip each and every one of us so that we can be better stewards of this temple called our bodies. We pray, dear God, that all that we have learned should not just be words that we have heard, but we should now put them in practice. I pray, dear God, that you be with everyone that will start this health journey, beginning with the walk tomorrow morning. I pray, dear God, that you give us rest tonight so that in the morning we are better prepared. I pray, dear God, that you be with the presenter, continue to bless her in her ministry as well, together with her household. We pray, dear God, that you be with everyone that will facilitate the upcoming programs up until the sun sets, and we bid farewell to this holy Sabbath. All these things we have asked in Christ's name. Amen.
Okay, thank you guys.